remodeling project, and today we're going to start off with putting a couple of can lights in this shower area right here. And we're going to put one right here and right over here. And this is a 5-foot opening. It used to be a tub right here that we've taken out. And so if I was going to space them evenly at 20 inches, 20 inches, and 20 inches, this is 20 right here. So we're not going to be able to put it there. We're going to have to go to this side of it. And then we'll go to this side of this one. We'll just space off the wall and get them equal. Okay. What I did notice though, these rafters are not on 16-inch centers. They're a little closer, and so this distance between the two is 14 inches. And if you'll notice, these put together are 14 and a quarter, so they're not going to go in. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take these and cut off a little bit. So when you do, if you notice these ends right here, we're going to be flimsy. So once we get them put together, we'll clamp these down on them, and that'll help hold it together, and we can put some gray tape around it and make it work. But right now, we're going to go ahead and cut off a few of these. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 of them to cut. So I'm going to cut one of them. I'll show you how I do it, and then we'll come back after that's done. We'll put them back together on the boxes, and then we'll prepare to install them. Okay, be right back. Ryder makes quick work of it. I use a clamp to hold it down so it doesn't jump around, because you really don't want to hold it with your hand, because it can jerk and you can cut your hand with one of these things pretty bad. What I'm doing right now, when you cut through, it always leaves a little shave on the back side. A little, you can feel it right there on the back. So you want to just grind that off. I'll be back in just a second to get all these cut up. Okay, we got the ends cut off. Now you notice this one right here, it's got a really flimsy looking end. We're going to stick that in here. Slide it right on in where it's supposed to go. And then once we get it all secured and all screwed in, what we'll do is we'll fold these down real good, and it'll keep it tight. And then we can also take the little gray tape and run it around this edge right here just to hold it. It shouldn't go anywhere once it's installed. But anyway, one more thing I do is I go ahead and take my box cover off, and I strip back my wires a little further than the factory does, just because I want to wrap my this wire onto my hard wire. And then I want it to come all the way to the end, and then I'll put my cap on it, so you get a good fit right there. That right there is just not enough to wrap around enough. So I strip it back about 7/8 of an inch, as you can see, roughly like that. You don't have to measure this stuff, but make sure you cut the right size, because you can rip off excess material. You don't want to do that. It just makes it I think a little easier to put them together. Just like that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and so I've already centered, or put a center line up here. You can see I got a line here. This bathroom, the inside dimension is 36 inches, so we go to 18 is right here, and then we're going to center it with not the can, but the circle. Okay. So basically, we're just going to go like this, like that, and then now that we see this box is lined up with the center, so what we'll do is we'll just and you can see there's a screw right there too, and you can just line that up just like that. That's good enough. All right, let me grab my screws and. We'll go ahead and install that. I want this to be just above flush, and hopefully you can keep that screw where you need it. There we are. Alright, that's good. One more screw on this other side here. Just like that. itself in position. So we'll turn around this way. And we'll slide this whole piece over. Okay. And that way we can line it up. Line up this mark I put right there on the can, so you know you're right where you need to be. Get these wires out of the way. Out of the way, I said. Okay, good. That's good right there. Oops. Helps to have a magnetic drill bit. This one right here, I'm trying out a new bit that's supposed to be 3 times stronger. I always seem to wear the bits out. This wood is extremely hard. It's old, so it's hard. So sometimes you have to actually pre-drill these holes. Alright, there we are. Let's straighten them up square. Actually, that doesn't have holes. So what we're going to do is just nail that little tab down right there. Like that. Same thing on the other side. Flip it around. Okay, that's good. Now we can slide this around to get it to match the dimension. All you have to do is measure from here to this edge right there. Then we clip these down, and that'll keep them stationary. All right. Well, let's go on to the next. I went ahead and drilled a little pilot hole here because this wood, sometimes this wood gets so old it gets very brittle. Even with a drill, it's hard to get it started. So, would you mind? So I'm going ahead and get a little pilot holder and make my job a little easier. Okay. Now I need the drill itself, please. My assistant, just set that one down. The other one's going to be over there. Next time we'll be a little bit more prepared. Alright, so this should help a little bit here. Even at that, you can tell I'm going so far, and then it's like very okay. We end up having to drill these screw holes here because this wood is like petrified. It's so old, it's hard to screw into. You saw how much trouble I had with the other side, so I went ahead and just drill those all the way in. And these screws these are just sheetrock screws. So if you torque them too hard, they'll just pop. They'll break. They're not like deck screws, but anyway, so we did that, and now we put our tape on this because remember we had to cut them, and that left them kind of flimsy. And so now I'm just crimping these down. You can use pliers, whatever. Just don't hit your finger twice. Okay, that's good. And there's a little set screw right here too that we need to go ahead and screw in. If you'll hand me a screwdriver, right next to those wire strippers. There you go. Very good. Thank you. That's my helper, Jessica, and the photographer. So we'll just take this right here, a little set screw, and that'll help hold it steady. So when you're putting your sheetrock in, it doesn't move around on you, especially when you're taking your measurements and you've already cut it and all that. You don't want anything moving around at all. So, all right, so there we go. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to loop our wiring between the two, and it's going to come down with this one, which is the exhaust vent that we put in. Again, we just we had to put some spacers in here. That's a 2x4 and a 3/4 plywood, which made that come out just right. I was able to screw it up real tight because this is a fan, and it can wobble and make noise. This is one of those Panasonic type that's sound whisper or something like that. Anyway, so we run the wire, and it's going to come down this new wall that we haven't built yet. And it's going to have right about here, it's going to have a little timer switch that'll give you 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes to set the time for the lights and the fan. That way when you leave out of the room, you don't have to worry about turning off your exhaust fan. It'll do it automatically. Now we're going to drill some holes between these two rafters right here, and then we're going to come right through here, and we already have a hole right there, and we'll drop it down into here when we get ready to do our new wall. All right, let me get set up for that. Okay, now that we've got the boxes all up there, we've already got the wires prepared. What I'm going to do is I took a measurement between the two, and this should be fine. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to cut this wire back. I'm going to give it just about a 1/2 inch. So that way I can wrap that other one around this real good, and the cap will cover. You don't really want to leave your any wire exposed. If it hits on something like your ground or anything like that, it'll arc it out. All right, so what I've done here is I've got that prepared, and I'm going to go ahead and get up here and tie this box here. I'm going to go from this box to that box, and then from that box down to here. So up here we'll have 2 sets of wires tying in to the wires in the box. And it'll go to our timer. So I'm going to run this wire through the hole I pre-drilled, right through here and here, and that'll go into that box. And then we need to do right over here on your box, you'll have these little knockouts. So I'm gonna use the knockout right there at the very beginning, the first one, which I should have went ahead and I should have got that out of there earlier, but I didn't. So we'll do it now. A knockout, you just have to kind of get a screwdriver in there and bend it a couple times, and it'll come out. Now we've got our wire. Hot wire is going to be coming from the switch. Okay, it's going to come into here, and then it's going to be tied to this setup. You know, the wires that are in this box, the hot wire, and then it feeds to this one. So the hot comes from this box to this box. Right now I'm going to tie the grounds together like this, and what I like to do is get my hard wires from this hard wire here with these wires here, which are thread. I can't think of the word. Multi-strand wire, let's just say. And I like to try to wrap that around towards the very end. And you always want to go in the direction of the turn, which is to your right. So spin it around clockwise around your wire and have it come out at the very end, just like that right there. Okay. And then I take my pliers, and I turn it around a couple times so it's really stuck together. We're going to hook our wire up. And I like twisting the soft wire around the hard wire, but I want the tip of it to come right to the very end. So when you put your little screw cap on it, it goes right up in the highest point. That way it won't come loose. Very, very secure that way. All right, now I go ahead and get my ground out of the way, and then I hook up either one, black or white. You know, you hook black to black, white to white. It's pretty simple. I'm going to do my black first. Now remember, I told you I cut my wire a little long because I like it to wrap around real good and come all the way around to the point. And you can slide it back down if it goes too far. And then I use another little wire nut, screw it on real tight. You should get it real tight, and then just push it right out of the way over here like that, and then go to the next one. wrap that thing around just like that. I don't know if you can see this well enough. Okay. All the way to the end. A little tight. Very good. Now push it in. This thing has a box cover that we use, which is one of these two right here. I believe it's going to be this one. These are two different boxes. One of them, when we removed it from the previous remodel, and so they have a different configuration, but it's the same size box. So that's it. And then right here, right on the outside, can you see up here? I put one of these little nails. It's a wire nail. You put on just to secure it. You don't want to be able to pull that wire out of that box. And if you noticed, I cut my holes straight through, no diagonals, because whenever you put your insulation in, it's easy to measure over and draw and cut halfway through it to slide it up in there. Those diagonal cuts are a lot harder to measure and get a lot more cutting to do. So that's the way I do that. Now, the next thing is we're going to take another wire and we're going to tie the two wires coming from this one together and the wire in the box. So let me get that wire and I'll be right back.